I want to play one more section because he actually, I was impressed. He actually watched the debate I recommended.
So I'm not bothering with the Krauss debate, but I did watch through the Zuckerman debate, and it was mostly...
He watched my debate with Phil Zuckerman. Respect. Appreciate that. Should probably watch it again. I don't think you got my main arguments, but okay.
Just the two of you.
Well, I was too busy picking out my new tie.
What are you saying?
Bro.
What? I said I was too busy picking out my new tie.
Mostly just the two of you talking
Vice,
past
I
each
know.
other. I feel like it was mostly due to it not being clearly established what the topic meant. The topic was, which is better for humanity, Christianity or secularism? Mike pointed out early on that he is not advocating for Christian theocracy. He simply believes that societies that are based on Christian values, where the majority of the population identifies as Christian, are better societies.
By Christian societies, I mean societies that are based on Christian values, and the majority of the population identifies as Christian, regardless of governmental laws. And by secular societies, I mean societies that are based on secular values, and the majority of the people identify as secular atheists. And I want to be clear, I'm not arguing for theocracy or any type of government. This is about the nature of different societies, not governments.
But then he goes on to list a bunch of secular values, like the separation of church and state, and claim that they are actually Christian because they originated in Christian societies. The whole idea...
Okay. First of all, this is what I mean about not getting the point of the debate. That was not even, I don't even think that was in my opening statement. That was like one of the points I just brought up in the rebuttal briefly. My main, and if we were talking past each other, it's because Phil Zuckerman didn't prepare. Like, I read 2 of his books. I prepared. He did not. Same with the Krauss debate, same kind of issue. But like, again, going back to my slides, yes, the separation of church and state is a Christian value. That's not even disputed among experts here. So positive feelings towards natural philosophy may inadvertently have been fostered by the Christian attitude towards the state, exemplified in Jesus' call to render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and render to God the things that are God's. Although many Christian churchmen, such as St. Augustine, proclaim the superiority of the church over the state, the Christian church did acknowledge and accept the separation of church and state, which allowed for the development of a secular-oriented natural philosophy. And here's for David, in medieval Islam, by contrast, truly secular government was absent and the church and state were one. So yeah, long before secularists, Christians were developing a robust distinction between separation of church and state. Don't like that?
It was atheists.
It was atheist. No. Tom Holland, who is an atheist, says, interestingly, the separation of church and state was an upheaval manifest across the whole of Christendom. Wherever a priest was called upon to minister to the laity, even in the humblest, the most isolated village, there the impact of reformatio could be felt. The establishment of the Roman Church as something more than merely a first among equals, the general forum of the clergy in all churches gave clerics across the Latin West a common identity that they had not previously possessed. Here's a great book. I'm not going to read this, but Augustine goes through, starts to develop it in his own works, and then it manifests in the Protestant Reformation more fully. This is being developed through the Christian tradition. It's a secular value, but it's because secularists took it from the Christian tradition, modified it in the ways they want, and then they pretended it was never a Christian value.
Mm-hmm.
Utter nonsense.
Isn't that what they did with science?
Yeah, same thing. That's what actually Edward Grant is kind of, he's not saying that directly in this book, but he's saying, yeah, the foundations of modern science is a lot of Christian doctrines. That's what's going on in this book. But I mean, Tom Holland says secularism owes its existence to the medieval papacy. Humanism derives ultimately from the claims made in the Bible.
Wait
so
a
like
minute. So you agree with the papacy, IP?
Absolutely, obviously, because I quoted Holland on it, and he must too, as well as an atheist. But I mean, yeah, this is stuff I have addressed numerous times. Human rights, again, Christian value, as Samuel Moyne notes. I mean, just to pretend that separation of church and state is just a secular value and didn't come from the Christian tradition is just ahistorical nonsense. The reason it exists as a secular value is because you guys took it from the Christian tradition, but it is a Christian value for sure.
So what we're saying here is that atheism and secularism are parasitic. They can't exist without sucking the lifeblood out of the massive shark that is Christianity swimming boldly through the ocean. And you've got this atheist parasite sucking the blood of the shark and going, oh, look how fast we're moving through the water. Yeah, because you're stuck to the side of a shark, dummy. Something like that.
I mean, I said it in better terms in my debate with Phil Zuckerman and my debate with Krause.
You didn't say it better than I just said it.
Fair point. I'll give you that. But I mean, like I don't know why Vice Rhino thought the separation of church and state was my main argument. It wasn't. My three main arguments in that debate, and I made more in the Krause debate, was secularism leads to less community cohesion through lowering volunteer rates and charity, community cohesion. It also leads to more authoritarianism, the erosion of human rights, and it reduces birth rates to the abysmally low level that causes societal collapse.
And yeah, so I mean that last point you just said, interestingly, is what paves the way for Islam. That's one of the biggest reasons secularism paves the way for Islam. And then you got this guy going, man, Muslims, they got better arguments than Christians. He's like, oh, let's dial up how we're paving the way for Islam. What is this, man? What is this stuff?
That would be a nightmare, a total nightmare.
It would be.
Yeah. So yeah,
I just had a guy at my gym this morning who was an atheist. Tell me, like, Than, if there's anything that I'm going to agree with you on, it's that Christianity is good because, and he told me it's because it's what keeps Islam at bay.
Yep. Dawkins said it in 2010 before almost any of these other guys caught onto it. That he has mixed feelings about the decline of Christianity because it may be a bulwark against something else. And
all right, last clip I'm going to play, and then I'm going to talk about this ridiculous title of his video.
The idea of secularism is that religion is a private affair and as such has no place in the government that is supposed to represent all of its people. So how separation of church and state could possibly be an explicitly Christian value rather than a secular one is just beyond me.
Study history, man. Study the books I gave you.
Clear, I am not saying that it can't be a Christian value. This isn't an either or here.
What?
Oh, I just wanted to point out, because you pointed out a bunch of negative consequences of secular societies. Just want to point out the one more glaring negative feature of secular societies: lack of gratitude. Complete lack of gratitude. Christians hand you all this stuff and you're like, hey, you guys are all evil. We invented this. My goodness.
I know. I'm sick of it.
There can be value overlap between worldviews, but also, given the behavior of many of the American Christians in government, it certainly is not a universal Christian value. Whereas it is a fundamental value of secularism. There is no secularism without separation of church and state.
Yeah, except we see the same thing on the other side. Secularists trying to force secularism onto us. And that when you say keep religion out of government, what you're saying is I want you to enforce my atheistic values in society.
But I won't call it a religion. It's my ideology that I want impose, my ideology and my ethics that I want imposed on everyone.
Yeah. Like let me give a simple example, like divorce laws. Like it's impossible to keep religion out of how you're going to legislate. Politics trickles down from culture, but culture often trickles down from religion. Divorce laws. Religious people are going to think family cohesion, keeping families together, is more important than individual choices. They're going to they can have divorce laws, but they're going to make the divorce harder. Whereas seculars tend to favor more like individualism, more so. They're more likely to make divorce easier. Like something like that. Like, so you're asking an impossibility when you say Christians need to keep their religion out of politics. You're basically saying just legislate like I want you to. But it's like our values that we get from politics come from our culture, which trickle down from religion. It's going to be absolutely impossible to never think about certain things you get from religion or secularism that's going to influence your politics. But Christianity does a pretty good job of having at least a separation of church and state that's going to be lacking in like Islam or Eastern religions that did not develop in the same way.
I wish you'd give some stats on like Christians being in favor or opposed to separation of church and state, or at least something other than like, hey man, here are the vibes.
Well, that's also hard because if you just call a bunch 1,000 people, do you agree with the separation of church and state? Like,
right, exactly.
It's going to mean something different every person. Like you might get a radical like Trump supporter like, I'm against it, because he's thinking of it as it's defined by like Democrats and not like how it actually is understood in Christian heritage. So, all right, you want to play this video? Because we said that if they got us enough super chats, we'd play this video. So you want to play a segment of it?
Sure. I'll just
Why is your screen weird?
I don't.
Oh, you look weird.
Yeah.
It's
Also, Than, you should change your name because it looks like Than. It looks like you're. Hey, I'm Brother Than Smith, and it's like, dude, you don't even know basic grammar. But you're not saying that. It's like,
what do you want me to change my name to?
Thanos.
Oh yeah, I'll do that next time.
Make it holier than thou.
Mike, what do I have to press to make it look better?
F1. Looks fine. It's fine now. Just hit play.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Make your name
Who exactly
smarter
was Jesus?
than
Was he
you.
always divine, God from the start, mysteriously taking on flesh? Or was he a remarkable human, chosen and elevated to divine status because of his extraordinary virtue and obedience? Was Jesus always God, or was he elevated to divine status? Today, many modern voices argue the answer to this question is adoptionism, a view that the earliest followers of Jesus saw him not as eternally divine, but as someone who earned his divine title later, maybe at his baptism or even at his resurrection. Could this adoptionist view actually reflect the earliest Christian beliefs? And if so, what does this mean for your understanding of who Jesus truly is? Some early voices offered an answer that today might surprise you. They suggested Jesus started his journey as a remarkable yet fully human teacher, someone who exemplified obedience and righteousness so profoundly that God chose to elevate him. They believed that at his baptism or resurrection, Jesus became the Son of God, not by nature, but by divine adoption. Central to the adoptionist claims is Romans 1:3-4, where Paul writes concerning Jesus, who was appointed the Son of God.
Do you want me to stop there? Or keep going? You're in charge, Mike. What do I do, boss?
Just do another 30 seconds, man.
Okay.
Fine.
God in power according to the Spirit of holiness by his resurrection. The Greek word translated for appointed here is horizo. Some scholars like Bart Ehrman argue that Paul's use of horizo indicates a moment when Jesus transitioned into divine sonship, implying Jesus was not intrinsically divine from birth, but rather became divine at his resurrection. Ehrman further suggests that Paul's phrase, Son of God in power, specifically highlights a shift in status. Jesus, once human.
All right.
Cool. So yeah, that's currently live for all Patreon donors. The donor link is below. If you sign up to donate, you'll get access to that video now as Than destroys Bart Ehrman.
I refuted.
Obliterates him. Exactly.
Bart Ehrman is too strong.
Yes. I was prepared because I debated the Hebrew Israelite yesterday, David. I was like, I might need to use these. And of course, these arguments he didn't even bring up those because they were so bad of arguments. I didn't even have to use that kind of stuff.